Hello and welcome to this lesson where I'll be talking about risk management, specifically for how to pass a funded account and how to keep a funded account going. So I'm going to talk about three things into this lesson. I'm going to talk about what a funded account is, why risk is everything inside of the funded account, and how to keep it. And I'm going to share with you a roadmap on how to do it. So the thing with a funded account is if you don't have money, if you don't have a large amount of capital, the ideal thing is that we want to do is we want to trade with our own money. We want to use that money, trade with our broker, and not rely too much on a funded account. Because a funded account, they can ban you, they can close you, they can see the patterns that you are doing inside of their system. They have AI tools right now that's seeing patterns all over the traders that are doing it. So they can, so you're not really in control of that. And having a funded account to rely on your livelihood on giving it your paycheck, giving you it, making you a paycheck uh, um, every month, that's a bit risky because they can just block you 1 month and then you don't have a income for that month. So the thing with before I go over, what is a funded account? First things first. A funded account is a company that gives you capital to trade with. So the company's job is to give you capital so you can go trade with larger amounts. And they take a percentages of the wins that you're getting from the profits. So before you do that, before you get that 100K account or 200K account or a 50K account, it doesn't matter. You need to pass a challenge. They set rules inside of these challenges. I'm going to use FTMO as one of the leading prop firms in the industry, where you have two steps. You have a step where you can FTMO challenge and how it works. You have different amounts of challenges, and it costs 345 to pass a 50K account or 433 to pass a 100K account, right? So you have two steps. You have a one-step process, and today I'm going to just talk about this two-step process. The two-step process means that you should reach your first stage. There are two steps. The first step is to reach 10% of that account. So they give you a demo account, and when you reach 10% on that demo account, you pass the first step. And then their phase, you pass the first phase. And then they give you another. They give you another 100K account. That's still a demo account. And when you pass that second stage, which is 5%, half of the amount of the first stage, then you get a live funded account that you can trade with. So this is the process of a funded account, right? So that's how the funded account works. The thing with a funded account, it's just like health. That's the metaphor that I'm using. So summer's coming up right now, and I know so many people, they kill themselves to get the six pack or get the beach body. They work so hard to get it, and when the summer comes, they let go of all the habits, all the routines, all the exercise regimen, all the diets that they were doing to get to that goal, and they just let go. This is the same thing that works with a funded account. We fight so hard and we are so strict and religious with our risk management, and then when we get it, we let go of the thing that got us there, right? So I'm going to talk about this and how to keep it, how to keep a funded account, because like getting a funded account, that's nothing. Like if you put getting a funded account as the pinnacle of your career in trading, you will lose it because it's not about getting it's about keeping it alive always, because what is the goal here? The goal is the work. So the work in passing the funded account, the work in keeping the funded account, that is the goal. So why risk is everything in the funded account? Risk controls how we stay in the game. The goal here is to stay longer in the game so we get the benefits of the profits that we are getting on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, and on a yearly basis. But one mistake, one tilt can wipe our own the entire progress. The thing I forgot to mention is you have a daily drawdown somewhere. So if you reach, like if you over risk one day and you risk 5% on one day or something like that, then you've blown your account. They lock your account and you fail the challenge. So that's one mistake can wipe that progress. Survival comes before profit. The thing with a funded account is how we think about the losses is more important than how we think about the profits. When you come to a funded account and you come to a trading day, the thing we should ask ourselves is how much am I willing to lose today? So, first things first is how to pass it. So, I talked about these two strategies, risk management strategies, the slow track strategy and the fast track strategy. You can use either one of them. If you have good risk management and if you have a good mental strength, feel free to use the fast track system because that will get you to pass the funded account quicker. The thing with the funded account, if you put $345 into a 50K account, you should see that $355 as gone already because that is the investment you're putting on yourself to pass a challenge that will give you a 50K account. Because when you pass that, you will get back 10x or more of the money that you invested in. So the investment part that you are putting in to pass that 50K account is so huge because it's leveraged. You put in 345, you get a 50K account, and with that 50K account, you risk 1%, that's $500, right? And when you risk 1%, it's a 1 to 3, that every win is $1,500. So you get back so much from the, and then it continues, it compounds over and over again because you're still using that account, right? The thing with a funded account is also don't take it too personally when you fail the account. You should have, let's say, $2,000 and you should buy four accounts. Let's say you have $2,000 and you buy four accounts. When you buy those four accounts, let me just draw something here so I don't just speak. So you have 2,000. You have $2,000, right? And you buy a funded account. When you buy a funded account with those $2,000, let me draw it. You can fit. Let's say every funded account costs $500, right? Which one is it? Yeah, let's say you buy four $100 accounts. So you pay 500 here, 500 there, 500 there. That amounts up to $2,000. So let's say you fail the first challenge. That's fine. All right. You use the track system and it didn't work. That's fine. Throw the account away and do the next one. You failed that challenge. That's okay. You're investing in yourself. That's the thing. You failed that account too. Then the third account, you passed that account, and then you did the fourth account, and you failed that too. You still here have 100K to trade with. When you have 100K to trade with, you can get back these $2,000 so quickly, so quickly. So it doesn't. It's like you're borrowing. This is you, right? You are rich and famous, right? You are borrowing this amount. You are borrowing this amount from your future self. That's that has a 100K account, and then you keep doing it. You keep risking, or you keep investing, so you grow more accounts. Maybe you lose one again, and then you lose the second one, and then you win the third one. Now you have $200,000 to trade with, and you can get back that amount so quickly, so quickly. But be careful with this because if you're losing and you're not journaling, you don't know why you're losing. So that's important to figure out before you go ahead and trade the next funded challenge. right? This gives you access to a large amount of capital very quickly. So you can use both system. You can use the fast track system if you feel like it, and you can use the slow track system if you feel like, you know what, I need to take my time. I don't need to pass the funded account in 2 weeks or a week, right? I can take my time and pass it in 6 weeks without having any mental stress over it. Right. Now we come to the second stage. You did the risk management. You did the part of passing the funded account. What is the next step? How do we keep it? So you just passed your 100K account. Congratulations. You passed the challenge. After you pass the challenge, you get a live funded account. When you get a live funded account, that is when your risk management changes from this and this to risking small. You risk and you build your buffer, because having a funded account and having a 10% drawdown, meaning you have to lose 10% of your account. Your account has to be 90,000. Let's say you have a 100K account. I'm using 100K because it's easier to count. You have to get that account to 90,000. Where do you do it? You have to get that account to 90,000 to be able to lose that account, which is minus 10%. How many times have you traded and been minus 10%? Almost never, because that never happens because our strategy is not allowing that to happen. Maybe you lose two trades and then you win one trade. Let's say you lose two trades again and then you win one trade and then you win one trade after that. It's never 10 losses in a row. That never happens. I'm thinking about it like that you're risking 1% each time. So when you pass that account, the risk should be 0.25 to 0.5%, and you just keep risking that amount without losing your head of, because that amount in 100K funded challenge is 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 huge for a lot of people. Like risking $500 on a trade, and then you take a loss like 2 minutes after you get stopped out. That's huge. That affects some most people's psychology very much because we don't come from that amount, right? These are huge amounts that we are risking. And we're thinking, you know what, this is not real money. And then we go on to spiral into that mindset and then we blow that account. So we need to build that buffer. Let's say your risk 0. You start with low risk, 0.25%, right? You take the win, you take the win, you you start your risk 0.25%. You take the win, now you have 0.75% because we're counting it as a 1 to 3. Now you have 0.75%. What do? You double your risk. Now you can risk 0.5%. And then this is how you grow your account. And the goal should be what I usually say over again, 1.5 to 2% a month, a week. 1.5 to 2%, which makes it in a month, let's use number two to have easy math. That is 8% a month return on a 100K account, right? That's still a huge ask. Let's say five or six. One and a half, four times is 6%. 6% on a 100K account, that's $6,000. That's a great amount. That's a great living, right? You can do that. And the more you stack accounts, the more you gain your profits that way by risking small. By risking small. You risk 0.25%, right? You risk 0.5%, you win that trade. You risk 0.5%, you lose that trade. You go back to risking 0.5%, you win that trade. And then you risk 0.5%, you win that trade. And now you've made it to 1.5%, right? That's how it goes. You do it over and over again. You never risk until you have some buffer. Like you start out by risking 1% or using don't use this. Don't use the fast track system when you have a funded account. So you protect your funded account by lowering your risk. You can go even lower. Point no, not the past the challenge. Sorry about that. Protect the funded account. You lower your risk. You risk 0.15%. 0.15% is $150. You get basically, or we get basically between 150 to $250 a day on a 9 to 5. Right? When you see it from that perspective, it sounds reasonable to be risking a day's paycheck to gain 3 days' paychecks, right? Think about it that way. And when you do that consistently over and over again, you stop watching what other traders do. They risk 2%, 4%, and they just made 18K on one trade. That's just gibberish. That messes with our mind. So focus on consistency and maybe force consistency, because this needs to require discipline. Why? Because we are coming from these numbers. We are coming from these numbers that we risk 1%, we risk 0.5%. I'm just telling you this in a realistic manner, right? You can still go ahead and use the fast track and the slow track risk management system. You will gain more profits, but you can lose more, and there's a high probability of you tilting more because you can't accept the loss. And then you grow steadily. You grow 1.5 to 2% a week. Don't chase more. Don't do more, because there is, as we talked about in some previous lessons, there is a want and there's a need, right? What do we what do we need? Let's say there's a need and there's a want. What do we need? Where is our baseline? We need we need to live, we need to eat, we need to drive a car, we don't need to drive a car. There are some people walking, taking the buses, right? That's that's what we need. We need money to survive. There is the base standard of our living, right? And there is a want. It's like food. There is a need. We need to eat, right? And the want is dessert. We don't have to eat it, but we feel like we want it. It's the dessert. That is the dessert of the of the trading. That we are chasing more. We are we're going outside of the process to have more money, have more capital. Because if you spend 3 weeks getting a 4% account, right? And you say to yourself, no, I don't need a paycheck this month. That is fine. You take that paycheck for yourself, and then everything over it, you you can play around with it if you like. And how you scale is not by risking more. You scale by gaining more accounts. So you scale by gaining more accounts, like I showed you an example here. So you scale by, you know, you do this process again. You pass a 100K account, you have it saved in your repertoire, in your portfolio, and then you do the process again, and then you have another account. You save it another account in your portfolio. And when you're risking with $200,000, and then you do another one. Let's say you do a 50K account, right? You didn't do 100. You pass that and you put it in your repertoire. Now you have 250K to trade with. And this, like having, and then you do another 50, let's say, and then you are risking, you have 300K to trade with. You have a 300K account to trade with. You can copy trade them, by the way. You can have one master account and 3 other accounts connected to that account. So the same trades you're taking on the first account splits to the others. So if you're using, let me count how much that is. If you're using a 300K account, right, and you're risking 0.15. Is that correct? Yeah, there you go. That's 450. That's $450 per risk. If you're risking 0.515%, right? That's a lot. $450, because if your monthly paycheck is $150, that's a lot. And if you do this on a daily basis, like let's say you use a 1 to 2, right? You double this, that's $900 in a day. That's good money, and you can do it. This is just a process. This is just manageable to do over and over and over again. So feel free to try this out. Don't risk too much. Don't go to the 100K account directly. Try the 10K account just to dip your fingers into how the prop firm world works. All right, I don't want to get this video way too long. Just to recap, what is a funded account? We just recap. I talked about what is a funded account. I talked about why risk is everything and how to keep the funded account and not losing it by blowing up the account, because we should risk small and change our risk management strategy after we pass the funded account. All right. Lesson check-in. What made passing and keeping a funded account clearer for you in this lesson? One sentence is enough. Just share it below so it will stick with you even more. And as always, follow me on YouTube, follow me on Instagram, and if you haven't done it already, join the Skool community and feel free to leave a review or comment on YouTube so other people will see this video and other people will enjoy this video also, and it will spread out through the internet. All right. Talk to you in the next lesson and take care.